Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video of the new player's guide for Rust Power. On the last episode we were talking about power sources. On today we're going to be talking about power storage, or better yet known as batteries. Now batteries is what you're going to use in Rust in order for you to store the energy that you are collecting with your power sources. If you guys haven't seen the power sources video, make sure to go check it out. I'll probably put it in the car somewhere around here. If not, make sure to just check out the playlist and you'll see the previous video. Now, with that said, let's just get started here. Now, we're going to start out with the first thing, crafting. So in order for you to grab the basic type things, you can learn the basic battery, or I should say the small battery, on the tier 1 workbench. The small battery is going to be literally the second thing you learn. And then a tier 2 workbench, you're going to be learning the medium battery. That's the very first thing on the tech tree. And then the large battery would be at the very bottom almost. Alright, so with that out of the way, you know you could craft these batteries. These batteries each are going to cost a hefty penny. The large battery being 10 high quality metal and 2 tech trash. The small battery, let's start out. The medium battery being 5 high quality metal and 1 tech trash. And then the very first one, the small battery, being high quality metal. Now, with that said, let's just jump in right to the first one. So the very first battery, or power storage, that we're going to be talking about today is going to be the small battery. Now the small battery has 150 cap. That means 150 capacity. That's the maximum it has. It has a maximum output of an MOP of 10 voltage. And in order for you to charge one, you're going to need between 12 to 13 power in order for you to charge it. Right now you see we have about 40 power being fed into our battery. This is why you see our battery is at 150 charge. It's fully charged. Now you might be asking yourself, what do you mean maximum output? What I mean by a maximum output, I mean that everything in Rust takes a certain charge. If you see over here, for example, this root combiner is going to take 1 charge, and things like, things like this, a big old beautiful turret, it's going to cost about 10 charge. So if I come over here and I connect this beautiful turret and it turns on, now you're going to see that our maximum usage is now 10. So now I'm using 10 battery, or I should say I'm using 10 out of these, out of my maximum output of 10. That means that this battery is rendered useless. It could only power 1 turret at a time. And remember, as you can see right here, it's only going to last about 15 minutes. Now Rust nighttime cycle is going to be between 10 to 15 minutes. I believe, if I'm not wrong, 15 minutes. I know I said 10 in the previous video, but I think it is 15 minutes. So think about that. It's going to take you 15 minutes. So it's going to power a turret for the entire night cycle, and then it's going to die. So just something to be aware of. So honestly, I wouldn't even use a small battery to power a turret. I feel like it's a waste. For that, you have better choices to power things like turrets. Now, if you're going to power things like lights, heaters and stuff like that, then yes, a small battery is a viable option in my opinion. Now, you're going to need between 12 to 13 charge in order for you to charge this battery as is outputting charge. Right now we have about 40 charge coming in. That's because we have 2 solar panels. Each solar panel is 20 charge, and the sun is right over them, so we're getting the maximum amount of collected solar power out of this. So I mean, 40, it's kind of an overkill. Like I said, you need anything between 12 to 13 in order to charge this, so that's kind of a thing. Now, before we move on to the next one, that's pretty much it for the small battery. You're gonna have to think about things like, well, if this is gonna last me 15 minutes, as we saw, it's gonna power the turret for 15 minutes, right? So you're like, well, if it takes 15 minutes, what if I stack 3 batteries? Each one is 15, so 3 of them is gonna give me 45 minutes, right? And then I could just kind of like daisy chain the batteries in order for me to not have to worry about it. I would advise you against this. Now, the reason why I'm going to say I would advise you against this is because the battery only uses 80% of whatever input energy is being channeled into it to store it. So 80% of 40 charge that is getting in right now is going to be being used to charge it, and then the 10%, I don't really know where it goes. The 20% left over, I don't really know where it goes. It only is going to use 80. So if we already deducted that it takes 12 to 13 charge, so if each of these batteries is going to give 10, that means this one is going to give this one now 8, and then from here to here it's going to give about like 40 or 60, I think. So it's not worth it. If you want to really do something like this, you're going to be looking at something like this. You're going to be looking at something like this. You're going to be looking at something like this in order for you to truly get your in order for you to truly get your actual 45 minutes. So as you can see, this is a bit of an overkill. Instead of you doing this, you might as well just use a medium battery, to be honest. This is kind of an overkill. You're going to need these two in order for it to be fed into this. That way you're actually getting more than 13. And then obviously from this to this, it's going to be fed more than that. So it's kind of an overkill, to be honest with you. And it's not even worth it, to be honest with you. It's kind, yeah, don't do this. Like just don't. Like it's not worth it. So let's pick this batteries back up. And let's move on to the next one. We're going to go now to the medium battery. That's going to be it for the small battery. It's not much to talk about the small battery. You could power other stuff like lights and everything, but moving on to this other stuff. Now we're going to be talking about the medium battery. With the medium battery, this is a huge jump. While the small battery only had 150 capacity, the medium battery has 9,000 capacity. 9,000 charge capacity. It has a maximum output, an MOP of 50 volts. 50 volts. And in order for you to charge it, you're going to need at least 62 to 63 charge. As you can see right now, with 4 solar panels, I'm getting 78 charge. So obviously, if you're going to have a medium battery in your base, think about having 4 solar panels in order for you to continue to have this fully charged. That's something to think about. I can see medium batteries being used on small to medium size bases. And honestly, one medium battery should be enough. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, one medium battery should be sufficient for you to power something like a turret, So let's do something like this. Let's put our beautiful root combiner, or I should say electric branch here. We're going to feed it into here. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to do something like this to power our turret. Now, obviously, as you can see, our turret is not being powered. Why is that? Because I'm only feeding 2 energy. If I do something like 11, boom, it powers the turret. Now, you're going to see that I'm using constantly 11 power. And as you can see right there, it says that this turret is going to be able to be powered for 3 hours and 42 minutes. That is something to take into account, So obviously, an output of 10, you could probably get a good 3 turrets powered along with lights and other stuff. So with a medium battery, you're looking at about 3 turrets to be powered. So that's not bad for a small, medium-sized base. 3 turrets, even just 1 internal turret, is more than good enough for you to keep power. So instead of you having like a switch, you can have something like an electrical branch. And then if I go right here and I put 1, it turns off the turret again. Now you might be wondering, well, if I need 10 power in order to power a turret, why are you putting 11? I'm putting 11 because obviously the electrical branch is going to use 1 power. So it's going to use the 1 power, and now it's outputting a power of 11. So you can see, boom, there you go. 11 power. All right. So medium battery, you have a lot more fluctuate. It's obviously, it has an output, a max output of 50. I'm powering 1 turret. I'm using 11, at all times. Plus each, like if I'm not mistaken, lights are like 1 or 2 each. Things like, what is it? Things like the electrical heater, you know, for when, if you're living in the snow biome, that's gonna run you about like 3 power, right? Yeah, it's gonna run you about 3 power. So it honestly, a medium battery is the best option from a small battery. I would suggest anybody to have a medium battery if you're going to be doing electricity. That way you don't feel like you're limited to the stuff that you could do. And like again, remember to always have at least, at the very least, 62 charge in order to be charging this. If you now, I'm saying 62 charge because let's say you're using a maximum of 50. So if we go over here and let's put 50. If you're using a maximum output of 50, you can see right now it says it went down. All of a sudden now it's only going to stay power for 30 minutes, 37 minutes. So if I'm using a maximum of 50, you can see it's going to not really be charging as much. But it kind of is. You see how it's fighting it? And even though I have 70 charge going into it right now. So this is something to really think about. You see it's going to go a little bit slower. It's going to charge it slowly. So think about that. This is when you should start thinking about maybe I should have things like switches or automatic things to turn on and turn off depending on other stuff. But these are going to be future videos that we're going to be making on these type of things. For now, all you need to know is batteries. Medium battery equals perfect, kind of like there on the sweet spot. Now we're going into the large battery. This battery you're going to be seeing more often than not on Zerg bases. I don't really see this being used on medium-sized bases. Maybe you will if you're like running like a trio or more. I don't see this for a duo or solo player unless you're a hardcore, then that's up to you. Now, the large battery is going to have a 24K capacity. That is insane. That is like almost triple this thing, you know? That's insane. No, that's like a little bit more than double, right? Yeah. It's going to have a max output, an MOP of 100. That is insane. And of course, you're going to need at least 125 voltage in order to charge it. Now, right now, from the windmill, we're only getting 89. Obviously, we could probably place this a lot better. And then, you know, we'll have more than enough to charge it. Now, with 100, you're looking into like maybe being able... I would say you could power up to 9 turrets with a large battery. But again, remember, if you're going to be doing this, you need to have some sort of power. If you guys don't want to use the windmill, you're looking into something like this. Now, look at the amount of solar panels I have. I place 10 solar panels. The reason why, each solar panel gives you a max output of 20. So obviously, 5 solar panels are going to be 100. And remember, the sun is not always shining one way. So you, like, let's say it's only shining on this side. That's 100 charge that I'm getting to this. And then on this side is 100 charge. But obviously, at the best time, we're going to be getting 200 charge at a certain time and point. I didn't bother connecting this. I just kind of want you guys to see the picture on how many of these things you're actually looking into, like, having to put down. So kind of staying mindful of that. So yeah, I mean, obviously with the large battery, I don't have much to say about this. This is kind of just a video about talking to you guys about the charge. You could do a lot more things with these type of stuff. I'm going to be doing more connections with the small to medium batteries. Large batteries, I don't really see the usage of it. It's kind of big. It's kind of hard to hide. You're looking into like doing Zerg connections with this. I do have videos about this, and you will see that in the future. But for now, all you need to know is large battery is very expensive. If I'm not mistaken, it's going to cost you, remember, 10 high trash and 2 tech trash. Sorry, 2 tech trash and 10 high quality metal to craft one. So be mindful of that. When it comes to the medium battery, you could actually buy this at the outpost. I always confuse these things, like the outpost and the thing. So it's going to cost me 75 scrap for a medium battery. That's not bad, guys. That's not bad at all. Medium battery. Instead of crafting one, you could buy one for 75 at the bandit camp. This is something to look into, you know. Each Each solar panel is going to cost you 75. So you're looking at 150, 375 scrap for this whole setup, you know? That's not really bad at all. That's actually pretty cheap, you know? Large battery, I don't think you could buy. You're actually going to have to find that or craft that. And small battery, if I'm not mistaken, you're going to have to find that or just learn it and craft it. But this has been it for batteries. I hope this guys explained to you. This is very kind of like the basic as I could, even though I kind of went a little bit off topic here and there. But that's kind of like the basic breakdown on batteries or power storage on Rust console, or the what's coming to Rust console. I hope these videos are helping you guys a lot when it comes down to this type of things, on where to find it, how to get them, and things like that. But without further ado, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.